Hello there, this is Prashant Solomon, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about UFOs and extraterrestrial life, whether it has come to Earth, and what would be the consequences of full scale disclosure, plus the reasons why I feel that the governments of the world know about this phenomena, but they haven't revealed it for certain reasons. Now, first of all, let me just start by saying that for those of you who don't know, we live in a very, very huge universe. The universe is comprised of billions and billions and billions of galaxies. Last count, I think we know already of about close to 150 to 200 billion galaxies other than our own Milky Way galaxy in this universe. Our own Milky Way galaxy is a spiral galaxy, a barred spiral galaxy, which is estimated to have close to about 400 billion stars, out of which our planet Earth, our sun, is only one single star, which has a solar system, and one of those planets, the third planet, is known to have life. So far, this is the only place in the universe that we know of 100% that life exists. However, we have now discovered that planets around stars is something that is very common. We have already discovered more than 1,000 planets that revolve around other stars. Those are known as exoplanets. The first one was discovered in the year 1995, and there was a huge discovery. Since then, we have discovered thousands of them, about 1,000 of them. And I'm sure that we're going to keep on and on discovering more. Some of these planets that we've discovered also happen to be Earth-like. Some of them are within what is known as the Goldilocks zone, which is basically a zone of space around a sun's orbit, a star's orbit, where water could exist in liquid form. So we have found some planets in the Goldilocks zone as well. Now, whether you believe in creation or you believe in evolution, I don't think anyone in their right mind would really think that Earth is the only planet with life. Because if you believe in creation and if you believe that God or some cosmic force has created this entire universe and made such a large universe, why would that being put life, intelligent life, only on one single tiny planet called Earth? Now, if you believe purely in science, some people who don't believe in creative power or creative intelligence, and they believe that the universe just evolved on its own following a big bang, well, even in that case, why would life evolve only on this small planet when the elements like hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen are extremely common elements in the universe, and those are the elements that ultimately evolve into what we call life. Now, many people believe that some of this life that is around other planets has actually visited planet Earth. There have been hundreds of thousands of cases of reported UFOs. Some cases could be easily dismissed as a mistake. It could be the planet Venus. It could be some sort of a weather phenomena. It could be just a simple optical illusion. However, not all cases have actually been able to be classified as a mistake. There are cases of experienced people. I'm talking about astronauts who have visited the moon. I'm talking about pilots of both commercial as well as military aircraft. I'm talking about policemen. I'm talking about former US presidents. I'm talking about a whole bunch of people who claim that they have seen an unidentified flying object and are certain that it is not a natural or a man-made phenomena. Now, one case in particular that immediately comes to my mind is the case that happened in Phoenix, Arizona on March 13, 1997. That case is more popularly known as the Phoenix Lights. There were thousands upon thousands of people in the city of Phoenix, Arizona, who saw huge lights, and they saw some kind of an object that seemed to be the size, bigger than several football fields, just kind of floating above the city of Phoenix, Arizona. Now, they still do not understand what that was. There was a press conference that was held later on by the governor of Arizona, Governor Symington. And in that press conference, he made a huge and a rather unpopular joke where he called a guy who was dressed up like an alien and, made a big joke about it. Symington himself today says that he himself saw the UFO and he is convinced that it was not of earthly origin. And he deeply regrets his ridiculing press conference. Now, if there are powers that be that control this planet, why are they hiding this information? You've heard of Area 51, where there was a crash that happened in July of 1947 in a place called Roswell, New Mexico, and in which they claim that a flying saucer crashed there. And then that flying saucer was taken by people from the Air Force to this base called Area 51. And there a process of re-engineering happened, which is the reason why we have certain technologies today, like things like laser, things like superconductors, things, other such type of stuff. Now, why would they hide that? Now, one reason could be that if it is revealed that we are not alone in this universe, it would grossly change the way many people on this planet think of God and religion. As of now, we have this feeling that we are some special people of God and this planet is really special. And, the Son of God himself came here and various prophets of God came here. However, people feel that if it is revealed that God is actually a God of this entire universe, and there are like billions upon billions of other civilizations, it would make us feel a little less special, I think. And a lot of people who are not really ready for that idea would perhaps react in a very unpredictable way. So maybe that could be one particular reason. Now, we don't know for sure, but we are pretty sure now that life in outer space is something that is not as unconceivable as it was perhaps 40 or 50 years ago. Now, we do know that Earth is not the only place with water. There's now water that we found on the moon, on Mars, it's suspected that there's a huge underground ocean around the moon of Jupiter called Europa, Enceladus, which is the moon of Saturn, and God knows where else there could be water. So, and that's just in this solar system. Okay, so it's pretty reasonable to assume that water could exist in many parts of this galaxy, in this universe, and we do know that it does, because we have found certain chemical signatures of water around various different stars that we've discovered, where we've also discovered planets. So I feel that the discovery that we're not alone in this universe and that there is intelligent life, and some of that life has come to Earth, will be one of the major turning points in human history, because it will open up a whole new dimension, a whole new arena for us to explore. It will open up a huge amount of interest in colonization of space as well as space travel. Suddenly, we will feel as if we have a huge place to explore, which we definitely do. And I feel there's just a question of time that two things are going to happen. Either they will openly reveal that yes, we have already been contacted and we are in touch with these aliens and things like that, and they may reveal a lot of other information. The second possibility could be that there's actual contact made by these advanced civilizations, and they themselves reveal themselves to us. So I am hopeful that this event should happen in our lifetime, and we should all be ready for it. Thank you.
I'm Fife Symington. In 1997, during my second term as governor of Arizona, I saw something that defied logic and challenged my reality. I witnessed a massive delta-shaped craft that silently navigated over the Squaw Peak area in North Phoenix in the evening, and it was truly breathtaking. To my astonishment, it appeared to be a solid structure. It was huge. It had a very distinctive leading edge with huge embedded lights in it, and it was just traveling quietly, made no sound, through the Arizona night sky. I still don't know what it was. As a pilot and a former Air Force officer, I can definitively say that this craft did not resemble any man-made object that I'd ever seen. And it was certainly not high-altitude flares as put out by the Air Force at Luke Air Force Base, because I've never seen flares fly in formation. The incident was witnessed by hundreds, if not thousands, of people in Maricopa County and in southern Arizona, and my office was besieged with phone calls from very concerned citizens. The growing hysteria intensified when the story broke nationally, and so I decided to lighten the mood of the state, and I called a press conference where I dressed up my chief of staff in a Martian outfit. It was meant to be a spoof, a good-natured spoof. That worked. We managed to lessen the sense of panic at the time, but I also upset quite a few of my constituents. Well, I'd like now to set the record straight. I never meant to ridicule anyone. My office did make inquiries as to the origin of the craft, but to this day they remain unanswered. Eventually, the Air National Guard claimed responsibility, stating that their pilots had been dropping flares. They also, another individual from Tucson said that A-10s had been flying in formation over Maricopa County, but those of us in the Air Force, and those of you who know about A-10s, they're called the Warthog, it's a tank-killing aircraft, know that it's the noisiest machine in the sky, and there's no way that a flight of A-10s could come over Maricopa County and be quiet. That just doesn't work. So we get these explanations that fly in the face of facts, explanations like weather balloons, swamp gas, military flares, and hardware and software problems. I was never happy with this silly explanation. There might very well have been military flares in the sky that evening, but that sure wasn't what I and what hundreds of my fellow citizens saw. Well, I now know that I'm not alone in witnessing something extraordinary. That's the bottom line. There are many high-ranking military, aviation, and government officials, many of whom are here today, who share my concerns. Some of them have truly exceptional stories to tell. There's absolutely no doubt as to the veracity of what these men have told you. They have fought in wars, they have guarded top-secret weapons, and they've flown countless passengers throughout the world's skies. Incidents like these are not going away. 1 year ago, Chicago's O'Hare Airport experienced a UFO event that made national and international headlines. Pilots and many other airline employees observed a metallic-looking disc hovering over the United Airlines terminal for several minutes, and then it shot straight up into the sky, cut a hole in the sky, disappeared. The FAA apparently did not investigate, dismissed the sightings as weather. We want the United States government to stop perpetuating the myth that all UFOs can be explained away in down-to-earth and conventional terms. Instead, our country needs to reopen its official investigation that it shut down in 1969. The United States government can no longer shun an international dialogue about this phenomenon, and we invite the government to work in cooperation with countries as represented on both sides of me here today. When it comes to events of this nature, dealing with the great unknown, we deserve, I believe, more openness and a serious pursuit of the facts by our government. Thank you very much.
Fife Symington is now a businessman. He was the Republican governor of Arizona for 6 years, elected when the first George Bush was president. Now, a decade after leaving the State House, he takes me to a Phoenix park and discloses something unlike anything uttered by any other high-level U.S. politician.
If you had been here 10 years ago and standing out here and looking up there at the lights and the view, you would have been astounded. You would have been amazed.
Governor Symington is referring to what is now known as the Phoenix Lights, an object videotaped by many and seen by thousands over several nights in the Arizona sky in 1997.
Major sighting here.
It was described by witnesses as larger than a football field and silent.
It was a giant V, all right? And the right side of the V went over us. The left side was like a couple blocks over it.
We just didn't know what to do. You know, it was just like, my God, how big is this thing?
The great state of Arizona, Fife Symington.
The former governor, a Vietnam Air Force veteran, had never publicly acknowledged seeing it until now.
And I suspect that unless the Defense Department proves us otherwise, that it was probably some form of an alien spacecraft.
So why didn't he say anything then? Partly, he says, because he didn't want people to panic.
And I think as a public figure you have to be very careful about what you say, because people can have pretty emotional reactions, and I said my goal wasn't to try to stir the pot.
And he went to humorous and controversial lengths not to stir the pot. He held a news conference after the Phoenix Lights to announce the mystery had been solved.
And now I'll ask Officer Stein and his colleagues to escort the accused into the room so that we may all look upon the guilty party. Don't get him too close to me, please.
In the alien costume, the governor's chief of staff.
Now, this just goes to show that you guys are entirely too serious.
UFO enthusiasts were not amused, especially since the governor was believed to have seen nothing. But now he's coming out.
The lights were really brilliant, and it was just fascinating. I mean, it was enormous. It just felt otherworldly. You know, in your gut, you could just tell that it was otherworldly.
Symington will be talking about this in an updated film about UFOs called Out of the Blue. He has also talked with an organization that wants UFO information more out in the open.
It's very significant that someone of the stature of a governor would come out and say that they acknowledge that they experienced a UFO, because it brings a lot of credibility and strength to the case.
Governor Symington says he did tell his family, friends, and staff about what he saw early on.
I still, behind the scenes, tried to investigate it, but I got nowhere.
So what were the Phoenix Lights? Well, frankly, we don't know. What we do know is that it's as much of a mystery today as it was a decade ago. Gary Tuckman, CNN, Phoenix.